Welcome to Psychic Girls Next Door. We are your hosts, Lili
and Shannon Miller. This podcast is for all spirituality enthusiasts and psychics next door to share tools, experiences, and spiritual practices that align with your highest vibrational self.
So in this episode, we'll be discussing the idea of spiritual trending and what spiritual trending is, where have we been trending on, and what trending has recently left our energetic systems. So there's a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
What has been happening this last few weeks or month, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're referencing the idea of spiritual trending from Abraham-Hicks's workshop that we recently attended a few weeks ago. And it really resonated with me. I know that we had previously talked about the workshop itself in one of our previous episodes, but the idea of spiritual trending really, I love it as a good framework for me to recognize, like, what are my patterns, whether it's like how I've been communicating, workout routine, self-care routine, whatever it is, like patterns, routines, trending. And something that, has been coming up for me recently is like, a lot has been coming up for me recently, but specifically, like I've started, about 2 months into my new job. And so, recognizing that I put my heart and soul into my job, and I do tie up a lot of my like worth and kind of like self-worth, my value into who I am at work. And I see that it's been merging with me. Yes, I take a lot of pride in who I am at work and like my work personality, and like, which is probably just my regular personality, but more like authoritative and like operating from my masculine information. But I realize, like, when I come home, I need to figure out how to separate a little bit more. And when I'm there, how to honor my boundaries so that I don't have to go through as deep of a separation process when I get home. So that's definitely been coming up for me this past week. And I love my job. I love who I work with, but I'm definitely realizing, like, where I'm leaving my energy behind, and almost like, am I letting people have their energy stick to my space in certain chakras, in certain energetic pockets, in my dreams, like all of that. So that's been coming up for me. But Lili, what have you been recently trending on?
Oh my, there's been so many trends.
Yeah.
Lately, when you look at online, there's like, what's trending today? And there's like all this like lists of different things. So I have to like backtrack a little bit. So in February, I had a little bit of a health scare. I was diagnosed with pneumonia, and that was not fun. That was terrible. I think it was like a mix of being around people that were experiencing cold symptoms and all that awful stuff, and me not wearing a mask when I was around those people. And I thought it was a cold initially, but the symptoms are not going away. And then I just told the doctor, I'm like, there's more to it. So I kind of advocated for myself too, which I'm kind of proud. And then, I was able to find out what was happening in my body. And that also had me slowing down because I had to take time off from work. And it's interesting how the body is always sending you messages and is speaking to you, because it was not just, the pneumonia. There's more to it. And, as I was going through it, you're just like miserable. Mm-hmm. When you're like in that state, you're taking antibiotics, your body's just going through a lot. But as I started, to recover and also transitioning back into your routine and into a normal space, because whatever it is that, whether the pain, the disease, or the illness is sitting, it's a great opportunity for you to look at that space. So pneumonia for me had a lot to do with the space of the lungs, right? Of course, and the heart space. So the heart then in our practice, we refer to the heart chakra, which is located again in the middle of the chest, and it has to do with self-affinity, self-identity, love for yourself and others. So it was also about that. So it was the physical aspect of it, of having, have to go through that, but also the energetic aspect of it, which I knew it. I had to kind of look deeper into my heart space, and I've been kind of avoiding. I'm gonna be honest. I would kind of, those things like you kind of like look in the surface and you're like, it looks okay.
I know that's there, but it's fine.
Do I want to stir the water and kind of dig my hand like deeper in there? So yes, I've been kind of avoiding, but I follow my intuition too when I was in that situation. I did, align or connect, I want to say, with someone that does past life regression therapy. And I knew it that I kind of had to dig deeper. And it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And I found someone through Shannon too, and her sister. And I went to get a session with her, and it was incredible. And it had everything to do with things that were sitting in my heart space. Things, of course, like related to my childhood with family members. And I was carrying still a lot of anger, resentment in that space. And it made a lot of sense why I was still carrying that, and how I was projecting that towards other people, and how other people were also expressing themselves around me. So it all kind of like connecting the dots around all that. I'm not going to go into a lot of details because it involves other people, and I think there's some things that, it's up to them.
Yeah.
To tell their story, or some things should just kind of stay private too. But it was an incredible experience. And I did that like right after I kind of like recover from that. And it was exactly what I needed. It was really intense. It was cathartic, I want to say, because I cried a lot. So I had like this emotional release, but it gave me perspective. And that's exactly, I think, what my soul needed at that moment. So from that on, then I started focusing a little bit more on the heart space, and looking at not only about how I give love to others and showing love for others, but also how I receive love. And that was really interesting to look at, because we think, I'm open. We all think, we're open. But in reality, are we really? But so I kind of had to ask myself those questions. So good opportunities for self-reflection. So this is where I've been trending on. It's just kind of looking a little deeper, because sometimes we're aware there's an issue. You're like, I know it's there, but I'll take a look later. And then you kind of put it in the closet, and it just stays there.
Oh, yeah, like an old dusty coat. And you're like,
and there's like cobwebs and dust.
You're like, I've been meaning to like get rid of that. Or, yeah.
And then the day finally comes when you have to do the spring cleaning, and you like kind of have to face that. And I'm saying this with a lot of compassion, because it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you really have to try, and I speak for myself, not being so hard on myself when I go through those things, and just have those thoughts of like, you should know better, or how could you let just kind of going to pastime information. Why did you let this happen? You should know what to do because you're a psychic and all this stuff. And then sometimes I have to catch myself. I'm like, wait, why am I being so harsh on myself?
Right. You're still a human being.
We are, and we're learning and we're growing. And it's not rainbows and unicorns going through this healing journey. I wish it was. It would have been amazing. But it was challenging to go through that. So I had to work through it on a physical level. in an emotional level too, but I think as I started working through my emotional wounds and trauma, I've been able to start to get out of the trend because I was not trending on that energy anymore.
I love that.
So that was very liberating. I want to say it's still a work in progress. I don't think it's like, it's all gone, but baby steps.
Yeah. How do you feel now?
I feel much better. But here's the thing too, when you start moving energy, as you start moving the current of things, so where you're trending, you're going to kind of probably end up in another current.
You're like, I didn't realize that was there.
Right? You kind of like swim in one direction, then the current takes you the other direction. Like, okay, I'm going to keep swimming. And, but I feel something shifted. I don't know how is this going to reflect, or how is this exactly reflecting? Because I think I'm still like processing all of it. I've been really focusing more on myself and creating rituals for myself around that space. And it's something that I don't think I've done that before. So I think I became like more aware of it, but it's been a process.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Well, it is a process to create like new rituals, new trending, new routines for yourself. And that's something that has been coming up as one of my trending patterns of how it's just this huge mystery question mark. And it's been an old trend. Like it's kind of a trend that no longer serves me, of how to change my routine, how to because I have all these great ideas for what I want to do. Like, I want to start writing my book, and I have in bits and pieces, but the consistency. So I want to switch from this inconsistent self-care trend that I have been operating probably my entire life, from no self-care to not understanding like what that is to, trying to incorporate self-care and then realizing like, oh, that's not really the type of self-care I need. I mean, yes, it's good to put face masks on and do some under eye like patches and, that's all great. But like, what is the deeper core self-care look like for me?
So you don't need to have to resort to self-care that much.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like more switching from like an emergency, like stat, she's flatlining, like we gotta salvage this, to like, oh, this is sustainable, like incorporating micro self-care practices every day. And so I'm figuring out how to do that. Like, especially because whenever I do start a new job, like that's creating a new trend, a new routine. Like, what does my morning routine look like? Lately, it's been doing my makeup in the car, which has been terrible.
While you're driving?
Well, I know. I do my eye makeup like before I leave the house, but like I can do powder on my face without looking at my face. For me, it's been maximizing time when I have time, and this belief that I don't have enough time. Like that has been a trend that's been coming up for me. And when time is kind of an illusion, like you get to kind of set up your day however you want. You get to control your day. Sometimes you can't control everything, but intentionally you can set the intention to what is your mock-up for the day, right? Like, what do you want to have happen? And like, I always want a workout to happen. Has it been happening? No. Like, some days, yes. I went on a walk last week, and I had talked about this previously about wanting to shift my trending from not having enough time to work out to being more intentional about fitting it into my day. And I am still not fully there yet. So that's something that has been popping up for my trending of like, lately it's been forcing I feel like the full moon, I think it was in Virgo on Tuesday of this last week. And obviously when you listen to this, it'll be a few weeks ago. But I feel like something shifted. Like I sometimes when I tap in and tune into my emotions, like I'll go through these like it's not like a depressive episode, but I'll feel the sadness that is lingering in my second chakra. And it's like it's old trending sadness. It's old, like either like something that day will have triggered that. And like, it made me realize like, oh, I need to clean out this like old sadness. It's not even updated in present time. So I was able to kind of clean that out, because I'm a very avoidant person when looking at my emotions and my.
I think majority of us are avoidant, and we only will do it if it's like an absolute emergency.
Right.
If it's like vital,
ballistic, like crying, like totally.
Things are falling apart over your head. So that's like oh, okay, yes, I think I need to kind of take a deeper look at that. But I think it's also about making choices.
Yeah.
Every day we make choices, and majority of us make choices based on our habits. Mm-hmm. We wake up and it's already this automatic pilot that turns on.
Oh, yeah.
So you're already, like you've mentioned, you used to like, you get in the car, you like, okay, that's where I'm going to do my makeup. So it becomes like terrible. It becomes a habit. And then, as you go through work, and then at the end of the day, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Mm-hmm. And then that habit of like, you're tired, like, wow, I'm just not going to bother, just go straight to work, sit in front of TV. So that's like, it becomes every day. If you do that, it becomes your reality. So and again, you're still making choices, how your day is going to go. Yeah. So it's also about being intentional about the choices that you make on a day to day. And again, no, days are not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. But I think the more you start becoming aware of the choices that you make, the better things will start to kind of show up to you, because we cannot make changes or make choices if we're not even aware what it is that is not healthy or it's not sustainable in our lives. So say if, I think you and I, we were talking about it. If like a workout, it's something that maybe you want to incorporate more into your day to day. So finding a time that is actually makes sense to do it, and it's not going to be 6 a.m.
No. And that's like the only time I have.
Yeah, and you
that's
think,
my thinking,
yeah, right. It's like, oh my God, this is the only window that I have, so I must wake up at 5:45 to get ready, and then you're already dreading that.
Oh yeah,
and you're like, it becomes a chore, and you're gonna hate it.
Oh yeah.
And it's not going to last.
It's not going to serve the purpose of like, I love walking in Golden Gate Park. Do I want to do that at 6 a.m. every day?
Not in this weather.
Not in this weather. It's freezing. And like, will I get the same satisfied feeling that I do at like noon on a Saturday when the sun's out and like people are like wilding out? Like we saw people swing dancing last Sunday. It was beautiful. Like that. It was warm. It was actually warm. And it like, that's not going to be, I mean, actually, maybe this is a limiting belief that I have. Like, and maybe this is good we're talking about it. Like, because for me, I'm like, I'm not going to have that same experience at 6 a.m. It's going to be more of like, we're just going to get this done, check it off the list. Like, I moved my body that day. Boom. And like, for me, that doesn't really feel fun.
Yeah, and you're not going to do it.
No, and I haven't done it.
Yeah, exactly, because you're already dreading even before you do it. But it's also finding, if you want to be trendy on staying healthy,
right?
You have to find things that are going to, make it in a way that is possible to do it.
Yeah.
Because if you like, say people will be like, oh yeah, I want to eat healthy, and that's great. Mm-hmm. You want to be more conscious about what you're eating. And then they ditch all their food and just start eating like very bland food, or just like, oh, I'm just going to eat this chicken breast with a side of vegetables. You don't even like eating vegetables. Why are you forcing yourself? Because, I want to become healthy, but it has to be in a way that is like sustainable. Mm-hmm. And you slowly start to incorporate things so you can start trending in a more like easier way. Because people just think they have to like, I'm just going to dive in and just like go like head on. And it's a shock.
Yeah.
It's a shock to the body. It's a shock to your own mental health, because the brain is going to try to keep you to where you already know and you're comfortable, where it's safe.
Yeah.
That's the brain, and that's your body's job. It wants to keep you safe. So anytime you shift from that, it's, things are just not going to move. And
I'm not going to move.
No, literally not moving. So, I think it's just about looking for it's small things.
It is small things.
It's small things.
Yeah.
If you want to, I remember when I also wanted to eat more conscious. I remember I went very black and white. I'm like, I'm just going to ditch all this junk.
Cold
and
turkey.
Yeah, it's just you go in, and then 3 months in, I am just unhappy,
right?
And I'm like, and I hate it. I hate the food that I was eating. I hated my whole routine, and I'm like, and I step back and I say, I think I need a little bit more flexibility around this.
Yeah, like the rigidity it's almost like the rigidity and being perfect creates a limitation in itself, and resistance, and matching that, and then you attract that.
Yeah, because there's no space for the energy to move. You don't create space.
No. Because
it's just so limited. It's kind of like in a box. Mm-hmm. So I think if you are, just looking at what you're trending on, there's probably more than one thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
I think we're trending in very different topics, different areas of our lives. But look at them how is it all serving you? How is this trending of, I want to get healthy, but I am not doing it, and then it kind of goes back into this a cycle, right? We complain, but then nothing gets done, and then we're unhappy, and then we go back to complaining,
and then we invalidate ourselves, and feel invalidated by others,
and then it just becomes this vicious cycle, and then nothing gets done,
right? And then you still didn't work out. Whatever it is,
and you just go back to square zero,
right?
And nothing moves. So I think it's more of becoming aware. What is it that you keep trending? What are the patterns? Right?
Yeah.
What is it that keeps happening? What is it that you keep repeating? And sometimes you might catch yourself just oh my gosh, I'm complaining about this, blah, blah, blah again.
Yeah.
Or people might call you out. Well, didn't we talk about this last month? Or didn't you talk about this a year ago?
Right.
So it's just noticing what are the patterns or even behaviors too that's being trending, and how is it serving you? Does it serve you at all?
Probably not. I mean, every time you have to question, is this serving me? Usually the answer that I am always getting is no. Because if you're questioning a certain, habit or trend or routine, then the fact that you even thought to question it in the first place means something needs to shift. That's always my first sign of if I have an idea on what I need to change, what I know that energy needs to shift. And so it's more lately I've been focusing more on a physical level. Something needs to shift out of my system. And we were just talking before this episode started recording, and Lili made a suggestion about me just deciding to work out immediately after work, because I work an hour away from San Francisco. And so it's just get it done on, the days that I don't have teacher in training. That is a new trend.
Oh, that's a lovely trend.
It's a lovely trend. I just started teacher in training at Psychic Horizons. And I know that we've talked about Psychic Horizons a lot, but
which is the school where we had our meditation clairvoyant training.
Yes.
If you haven't been following us and it's your first time listening.
Yeah. So I'm committed. I am shadowing step 1 meditation teacher in training with Lawrence. He's great. If you are interested in taking meditation, if you're interested in learning about the school, we can hyperlink classes. It just started. It's not too well. By the time you listen to this, the session will already be too late to join. But there's sessions every 6 to 8 weeks or
7 weeks.
7 weeks. Yeah. So I'm new to the crew from a teacher perspective, but it's been really interesting stepping into that space, because you would always talk about when you are operating as in your teacher space, from a meditation perspective or an energy perspective, I kind of imagined what that would feel like. But now that I am in that space and operating from my seventh chakra and being able to step into this new idea of what does it mean to be a meditation teacher, that I feel like that's shifted, and it's actually been a value add for work, because I come with a little bit more seniority. I feel like that's something that has the trending of maybe not feeling senior in my space all the time by around my coworkers or whoever it is. It can be my roommates. It can be anyone. When you are learning how to be a teacher and a teacher for meditation, like if you think about a kindergarten teacher, they control the room, or the kids will control them.
Yes, that's one of the biggest things that we learn. And I think this can apply to any situation. But just to also explain, if you're not familiar with the terms of seniority. So basically, being senior in your space means that you act with authority in your own space. So no one else's energy or information gets in your space, right? And as a teacher, you want to be senior and you want to be the authority in that space with your students. And again, as you mentioned, otherwise people would just run over all over you.
Oh, yeah. It's wilding out energy. And it was really interesting to observe. And so I did kind of controlling the energy of the room for Monday and Tuesday night. And Monday was the new clairvoyant training class. And everyone was new. And I also was new. And that was my match, right? Like, being new and being a new teacher and coming with that, am I going to be okay? I want to do really well. My match exactly was I want to do really well.
Yeah. So you're starting a new trend.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of how it is. Yeah. As you move on to different things in your life, you start to trend on other things because now you're becoming more aware of different possibilities. So there are different trends.
Yeah. Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been really great. I think I needed this shift. I needed this new trend to appear. And I see that it's going to add so much impact and value in every area of my life. Especially when I have been avoiding looking at my stuff in my space, or if I've, specifically the second and third chakra, that's coming up a lot lately. And then what's nice with this podcast, the fifth chakra gets healed every time we, record an episode, which is really amazing. So, it's been nice to shift and get new trends, and you can have multiple trends going on. That's something that how many trends do you feel are operating in your space at this moment, Lili?
There's so many.
Yeah.
I don't even think I can count in one hand.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different trends. And then I think that's just normal as humans because there's a lot going on. We have so many emotions and so many feelings around ourselves. We have different relationships, workspace. There's just a lot. But I think it's also looking at what are you focusing on? Because the trend is basically what do you focus your energy on and what is the predominant energy that is in your space. So it's a great opportunity is just to, if you're not into this chakra work and, you're not able to attend classes that we have mentioned, because I know it might not be available for everyone, but it's a great opportunity for self-reflection. Mm-hmm. When you find time in your day just to quiet yourself, maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know for some people might be you're probably listening to this and oh my gosh, I have to be quiet for 5 minutes. The dread again, already dreading that.
Yeah.
But just looking at this an opportunity. What a great opportunity to connect with yourself and just create space and then to get better.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get better. Everybody. And it's interesting how a lot of people say, I want to make a change. Mm-hmm. But then I ask them, okay, how are you?
Right. What does that actually mean?
What is in sustainable actions? What is it that you're doing? And what is your intention around that? That is actually going to sustain the action because we all have that, I'm just going to, the desire. Oh yeah, let's do it. But then again, what are the steps that you're taking to make that happen? So it's great to just take some time to reflect, because you only become aware of this behaviors, patterns, or whatever trends that are going on in your life. It's to take a step back in silence, because this type of information does not come when your space is cluttered, clouded, filled with other people's stuff. You're not going to be able to see. It's kind of looking like a dirty water. You're not able to see the bottom of it.
Yeah.
So it's important just to carve out some time, either be before bed or before like your day starts, just to kind of sit with yourself. It could be journaling too. Some people I guess or do a little prayer. For some people that works too, but just finding this quiet moment. I call me time. That's self-care.
Yeah.
Isn't that self-care too?
Everyone needs me time. And I think people do that on a subconscious and unconscious level too. Like whether it's just maybe switching it to consciously operating in me time. And, maybe that's going to be a new opportunity for our listeners, if that resonates with you. Like, have you been carving out me time for yourself? Have you been paying attention to what you're trending on? And if something keeps like nagging you, kind of tugging at your energetic pocket, it's telling you to pay attention to your trends. It's telling you to pay attention to your routine, whatever you're doing. And also just ask those tough questions. And it can be tough sometimes. It doesn't always have to be, but is this really serving me? Am I putting too much attention somewhere where it's not serving me, or I don't need to pay attention to this, or I can't control this. So therefore I don't need a trend on this pattern anymore. And that's something that I've been kind of learning and shifting through my own personal processes. Like today, I'm going to clean my room. It's been a trend of chaotic clutter, and it's been impacting my mind. And it's already looks a lot better in here, but it's going to look amazing when I actually just commit to doing it.
Yeah, because when you show yourself that you can do it, you tell your body and your spirit, okay, I got this. And that gives you a sense of safety and an accomplishment. And even if you move like one item, okay, I put it away. Okay, I can do this. And therefore you can just kind of build on whatever it is that you want to shift in your life, or you want to create a new trend, because you can create trends at any time. Yeah. You don't have to get stuck in the old trends that have been running maybe in your family, in your routine, in your whole lives, in your environment. You do have the power to start new trends. But I also want to, encourage, if you feel stuck, ask for help. Like you and I'm so grateful that I have you to kind of, we bounce things back and forth.
Totally.
Give me perspective, like, oh, I haven't thought of this. Right. And also find someone that you feel safe and comfortable just maybe sharing aspects of your life, or maybe a good friend that will call you out. It's like,
totally. Yeah. It's almost like an accountability partner. Yeah,
exactly. Well, yeah, it could be a friend. Maybe it's a therapist. Maybe it's a counselor. Maybe it could be a teacher too. So I think, or even a community. Find a community or a place that you feel like it resonates with you. And just see, maybe they are training or something. What are they doing? Just kind of get inspired. Maybe some of what they do maybe work for you too. And you start implementing those little changes every day. But it's okay to ask for help too if you can't find, if you don't have a lot of clarity or discernment. It's okay to ask for help and questions too. So feel free to send us a message too. If you feel training or something, you feel you need that extra help or that hand, that you feel like you need a little hand holding just to go through this process, because I know it's not easy.
It's not easy. And it's nice to have people who understand what you're going through. And we may not be, specifically going through that same experience, but being able to provide a safe space where, the floor is yours, and it's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to be imperfect. I think
it's okay to be you.
It's okay to be you. Beautifully said. Yeah. But we appreciate you tuning into this episode of Psychic Girls Next Door. Thank you so much for listening. Feel free to leave us a comment. Follow us on Instagram. That'd be great. We are Psychic Girls Next Door with underscores between each word.
And join us on our next episode. And if you enjoy also this episode, please share with your friends. Spread the word, because the more people know it, the more people can find ways to heal themselves too. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.